Hi, today I wanted to show you this, a Frixion ball knock. I guess I should go back and look, but I cannot remember if I've ever done a review of any sort of all of these Frixion pens that I have. I actually have some of these. I've had some of these before. I have like the markers in Frixion. I think these were like the colored pencil style ones. I can't even remember. I've had so many of them. A huge section in my drawer of them. They all started with these. This was the first Frixion pen that I had tried. Not this one necessarily, but this style. And then, I have these, the ball knocks. Is that gonna focus? You can do it, camera. There we go. But just recently, my brother sent me this. He got these in Japan, obviously. And the ones I have, I purchased from Jet Pens. So I'm very familiar with Frixion pens because I've been using them for years and years and years. In fact, I can remember the first time that I used them. I remember what school I was teaching at, which is weird that that's how I remember my life. I remember what school I was teaching at. And I remember one thing I learned about the Frixion pens the hard way. I had created this foldable that we were going to make in class. And it had all these colors because I had all these Frixion pens and all these different colors. It was really cool. This was before the days of document cameras. We were using, oh no, it wasn't, no, we didn't have a document camera. We had like a projector type of thing. Anyway, there was some sort of a document camera, but it also involved, yes, okay, now I'm remembering. There was a document camera. It was like one of the very first ones. And a projector. And the projector put off a ton of heat, like literally right by where I would write. As we were making the foldable in class, my ink was disappearing off the page, which the students thought was amazing. I did not, because that was like I had like my one master copy and the one I was making, and they were both right there in the heat, and they both just disappeared. And that's when I learned that, the heat makes it go away, right? I don't know why I hadn't put that together. I had a mini fridge in my room, and we put it in the mini fridge, and it came back. They were amazed and then disappointed, because then we had to go ahead and do that and had to figure out a way to rearrange my equipment. But that was I remember my first vivid experience with the Frixion pens. I loved them because they came in so many colors. If I messed up on something, I could just erase it and everything would always look nice and neat. That's just something to keep in mind, that Frixion pens do respond to heat and cold. So you wouldn't want to do this on something that you would need, or you wouldn't want to use these pens or markers on something that you need to be permanent, because they are absolutely not permanent. And I don't know, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know how many times it would fade and come back. Maybe it would do that over and over again. Maybe it wouldn't, but for me, after that happened, I was like, okay. But I used them a lot when I would do planning in my like when I would plan lessons, because, you're constantly erasing and stuff, and, that's not like a critical record to have forever. Just something to keep in mind. But I haven't opened these yet because I wanted to open them on camera. I have a lot of experience with these, so this is not a new product to me, but I just wanted to maybe do like a quick comparison. One of the differences is he was able to get a 0.5, and mine are 0.7s. I bought a set of these ball knocks on Jet Pens. I know I'm missing a couple of the colors now. I think a dark blue and an orange. I can't remember what else, but I don't think I ever had a purple, and so that's what he bought me. He bought me the purple, and then he bought a refill for it. So I don't know that he ever, oh, here's the orange right here. I don't know that he ever knew that I had this set of pens. It would be impossible for him to know, because I have so many. The original ones that I had tried that I've seen, I think these are at least a 0.7. I don't have any kind of packaging for them. And then these, I think they called them like I can't remember what they called them on Jet Pens. I want to say like a colored pencil kind of thing, but they're also 0.7. So I've never been able to get a Frixion pen something smaller than a 0.7. And when I look at this, this is also a 0.5. So it's not just the refill, it is the pen itself. So, or the original pen gear. So I'm just going to put the refill to the side because we don't need that. When I bought them, they came like this. They did not come packaged separately like this. So, let's see. Oh, it already has one in it. So I've got 2 refills. That's really cool. All right. So this purple never works on my camera. This is not, it looks so much more blue on my camera than it does in real life. And I know if I change like the lighting settings, actually that's a little more accurate, but it's purple. It's not blue. It's definitely just like a true kind of purple. The way that this works is, and one of the things that's really nice about the ball knock version as opposed to say this one, is the eraser. You know, if you were going to cap this, you're covering the eraser, right? So anytime you have to erase, you either take this off or you don't write with it with the cap. So the nice thing about the ball knocks, other than them being retractable, which is my favorite style, is that they have the eraser here that's always accessible. Another nice thing about these is that they have like a rubbery, silicone-y kind of grip here, which is very comfortable. The pen is very lightweight. The clip is necessary, right, for the retractability, but it's not, it could easily break, so it's not going to take a ton of abuse. You could put it in a pencil case or something. You can see that it is refillable. Sorry about all my sniffles. My nose has been so messed up ever since I became pregnant, and it's just it's not getting any better. Here's the refill, and you just twist it on. It's really simple. So I'm excited to compare the 0.5 to the 0.7 because I really like these pens, and I would say out of all the styles that I've tried, the ball knock is my favorite. So let's get the ink going. It's already going. Fantastic. Let's move this light. Maybe that will help. So this is a Pilot Frixion ball knock. Is that what they call it on here? Yeah, ball knock. 0.5 tip in purple. Now, I messed up, right? Let me just fix that. If you're familiar with the Frixion pens, maybe you have had this experience. Some colors erase better than others. But I would say out of every erasable pen I've tried, this is by far the best because it actually does erase. Some of them will leave a little bit of a trace, but these are by far the best erasable pens I've ever used. They're definitely not for everything that you ever want to write, but if you're, if you were a student, I would say I wouldn't do my homework in these because you never know where your homework's going to end up. Could be in your teacher's hot car or something, and then your homework disappears. But for notes or something like that, absolutely, I think these are fantastic for students. Just writing here, I know that this is a lot smaller than the 0.7. One of the things about the Frixion ink, though, is it's kind of, the ink is kind of washed out or like faded. I've never found any of the inks, and I'll show this to you up close, I've never found any of the inks to be super bold. The markers are a little bit of a different story, but the pens, not so much. They just, I think part of it is the erasability. One other thing that has always bothered me about Frixion pens is, let me see, can I turn that down a little bit? There we go. The ink, how do I describe this? When writing, the ink flow, see, I messed up. The ink flow isn't solid. a visible, how do I describe a visible, I want to say a track mark, but that sounds like drug related, and I don't mean it that way. That's the only way I can think about it. A visible track mark from the, the little ball or whatever that mechanism from the tip is present. Well, I'll just show it to you. So when you're writing, you can see, like, sometimes, I think this is a really good example right here. If I can get my camera to I don't think it's gonna, because I think it's too fine. You see that line right there, that slash right after out? I can very easily see it. I think the camera has a hard time picking it up. But you can see, like, where the tip has made a mark through there, and it's not a solid purple line. It's a purple line with white showing through it. I hope that makes sense to you. It's not always present, but it sometimes is. And so that makes it not, it's just not the boldest, brightest, most solid of lines. That bothers some people, doesn't bother other people. But the ink, I have always found, is just not that, it's just kind of washed out, like I said. But the pen is very comfortable. And comfortable, and it's lightweight. If you make mistakes, it is erasable. I'm sure that there's a way to spell that, and I'm not spelling that correctly. It's early, and what are you going to do about it? I don't know. It's erasable, and excuse me. I think that this is an excellent choice for students or anybody that needs to erase things. It's a smooth writing experience. And it's just a nice pen. Excuse me. So, if you've never tried a Frixion and you're looking for something that's erasable, an alternative to a pencil, that you can have some different colors, this is a good option. Don't forget that it will disappear in the heat. And now I just want to do a little side-by-side comparison of the 0.5 and the 0.7. So maybe I'll do something like this. So that line that I'm telling you about, that mark or that track of the tip, very visible there. Let me just get this. They're pretty easy to start. I haven't used this one in a really long time, but I think this shows a really good example of the faded ink. So this was the 0.7 in black, and this is the 0.5 in purple. This black is like gray to me, and I think the bigger the tip, it seems, the more pronounced that that mark is that the tip makes in the ink. So it's not like a bold solid line. It's hard to see on here, but let's see. It's very visible in real life to see the edges of the ink flow and then how the tip has dragged through the middle of that. I don't know that I'm describing that well, but that's what I'm trying to say. And I think that this gives you a really good idea of how washed out and faded that is. I just made a video on the Uniball Air, and I'll just give you an example. This is also a 0.7, and it's black. Now that's black, right? They're not exactly a perfect comparison, but I think this puts in perspective just how faded the Frixion ink is. And I've always found the black to be lacking in the Frixion ink because it's just so light. And of course, we want to see, does it erase well? So let me just go ahead and erase something for you. We have nice solid little loops there, and I'm just taking the end of it, and because of the heat created by the friction, it's gone. You don't get the little eraser shavings that you would with a pencil. I can see it in real life. I can see kind of the imprint on the page, barely. I think some colors erase better than others. Some of them definitely leave like a ghosted image, but this one does pretty well. I'll erase the black. And that one erases really well too. So as far as erasable pens go, I don't think that you can beat the Frixion. The other ones out there are just sorry that I have used. Maybe you've used something else. But again, this is not for every purpose or for every person. Definitely use with caution if you live in a warm climate, or if this, you know, your work is going to be somewhere that's hot. But for certain uses where you need an erasable pen, I think this is fantastic. I think it probably works better than, I'm thinking like of the 5mm Erasables, because I don't think those are working on the same principle of heat and friction as far as making the ink go away. They're using some other kind of technology that just isn't as good. I don't think that they have the same problems with the heat making your work making your work disappear either. So there's definitely a trade-off, and you have to evaluate which one would be appropriate for what you're doing. If I put this in the freezer, I think this would come back. But I'm not going to put it in the freezer because I'm going to end this video and say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this helpful. You can get these Frixion pens on Amazon, on Jet Pens. They're pretty available. I think you could probably even get them at like an office supply store. Maybe not in this style, but if just the Frixion brand pen. They sell stamps. They sell separate little eraser things. They sell all kinds of stuff for Frixion pens now because they've been out for a long time. So I hope you found this helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.